Hello and welcome back to BeamNG Drive for some Monster Jam Freestyle. We're back with part 2 of our freestyle run. So if you haven't watched part 1, then I highly recommend that you go and watch part 1. So, when this part is over, there will be a link in the description to a Google survey, which will have all the trucks, and you can go vote for which truck you believe won. Anyway, on to our first truck. Here is El Toro Loco. This is the black El Toro Loco. The original ones were all red, and I think this is my favorite El Toro Loco version. Here's the little walk around. You can see the black and orange of its chassis. Alright, in we are, and here goes El Toro Loco. Off he goes, going up the big ramp to start his run, and blowing some smoke right out of his nose. Gets a bit of a bounce there, turning himself around, and off he goes. Up the ramp he goes, and lands down onto the rear wheels. Almost clips the other ramp that's next to there. Up the small ramp he goes for a little bit of air. And up the ramp, gets some big air, and lands it back down hard. Alright, turning around. And it seems this is gonna be a donut. More smoke comes out the nose. Pretty impressive donut from El Toro Loco. As he continues on running. It's a pretty big amount of distance and some bounce. Goes up the small ramp once again. Trying to get himself into a good position, it looks like. Up he goes for some even more air. Lands it back down, gets a little bit of a bounce. Turning himself around, up the ramp with cars he goes. He clips one of the other ramps, and he's gonna land it down hard. It doesn't look like much broke other than one of the body panels. Other than that, nose is pointed up to the sky. Oh, never mind. It looks like the rear right wheel is a bit broken. That will hurt steering, but that doesn't seem to be stopping this crazy bull. Going across some of the ramps there. Looks like he's going to go for the backflip ramp. Up El Toro Loco goes. Does a bit of a spin. And will go up onto the other side. Lands it back down. Turning around. Off he goes, that wheel still giving a little bit of problems as he goes across that entire section of obstacles. Going a little bit crazy. Ooh, rolls it over. Can he get back onto his wheels? Absolutely. That broken wheel doesn't seem to be stopping El Toro Loco anytime soon. Also, the clock appears to be over, so anything else you see will purely be for show. And it looks like that will be the end of the run for El Toro Loco. Pretty good start here for our start of part 2. Up next we have Jester. This is a bit of a redo because the original file was a little corrupted, so I redid the run. Anyway, here's Jester. Lost to Stone Crusher in racing, I think. I believe Jester lost to Stone Crusher. Anyway, here is Jester. Let's see what they can do here in freestyle. Looks like they're looking for a place to start. Looks like they found their place to start, and up they go, getting some pretty good air and landing it right back down. rolling it over, getting a little bit crazy, and right back onto their wheels. Jester goes up again, lands it right back down. Up he goes, right back down, and is turning himself around to then go for the obstacles again, it looks like. Yes, he does. Full speed. Up he goes. Amazing air. Lands it down hard and gets a little bit of a bounce. Drives over the ramps on the opposite side, turning himself around. Up the big ramp he goes. Gets amazing air once again. Jumps right on top of that plateau and goes right off on the other side. Looks like the windscreen is about to come off as Jester starts to enter a donut, it looks like. Pretty good donuts there by Jester. Windscreen still trying to come off. Up he goes, landing it back down. Windscreen finally comes off. But the rest of the body panels seem to be holding on alright. Turning around, going for the big ramp once again. Lands it down, bounces up again. Gets a little bit squirrely as he tries to get himself straightened out. Turning around, full speed, almost. Lands it on the side. And right back onto his wheels. Popping it up into the air. Landing it down. Landing a little bit crooked, but that seems to be alright. Going back once again. Gets some pretty good air. He jumps right over. Looks like he's going for the backflip ramp now. And lands it. A little bit hard, but he lands it. And he goes in reverse. Up he goes. And right back down onto the other side. Ooh, and then he pops a little bit of a wheelie as he starts moving forward. Up and across. Landing right back down with another big bounce. Off he goes. Up into the air once again. And lands it back down for yet another bounce. Looks like Jester's going to do another donut for us here at Gillette Stadium. One of the body panels trying to come off, but it doesn't look like it's going to anytime soon. And it looks like that is the end of the run for Jester. Up next is Nightmare, an older truck from our world. It's here, and it lost in round 1 of racing, probably due to its older suspension setup. But let's see whether its older suspension setup can get it a win here in Freestyle. Here goes Nightmare right out of the starting gate. Off he goes, up the big ramp it seems, gets some pretty big air, lands it down, does a flip, and will land right back onto all 4 of its wheels. Up it goes, getting a little bit of a bounce. Pops a little bit of a wheelie as it accelerates, hits one of the jumps, goes sideways, lands back down hard, and it appears the rear right wheel is broken. Off it goes, seems to be holding the truck back a little bit. Truck gets squirrely as it goes up the ramp, lands on its side, and is right back on all of its wheels. Trying to get itself turned around so it doesn't hit the wall, it looks like. Off it goes, going up the ramp sideways, and landing back down. Up it goes yet again, Lands down kind of hard. Trying to turn around, but that wheel is not helping at all. Right off it goes, hits the ramp at a bit of an angle, lands back down, pops a little bit of a wheelie, turns over once again. There goes the tailgate, there goes the front right wheel. And can the truck get itself back up? Was that wheel, it looks like it's not really going to have much of a chance. It doesn't look like it's going to be able to get itself back over because of that broken wheel. Yeah, it looks like that's going to be the end of the run for Nightmare. It was an alright run, but let's see whether anyone else can do better. Up next, we have Predator. Took a little bit of a tumble earlier in racing against Gravedigger, I believe. But it's back, and it's ready to go. Out of the starting gate, Predator comes. Looking for a good place to start. Looks like he's also going to go... Oh, no, he's not going for the big ramp. But it's a good start anyway. Up he goes, rear wheels clip to the end of the ramp. Pops the two front wheels into the air as he comes out. Starts accelerating, hits the ramp, gets amazing air. Gets a little bounce onto the plateau as he continues on driving. Turning around, going at pretty high speed once again. Clears the obstacle as he lands on the other side and pops himself into a wheelie. As he turns himself around, he hits the jump, lands down on the other side. Looks like he's going for the backflip ramp. Here he goes, and right back down. And hitting the reverse once again. Going up the ramp, and lands down rather smoothly. Pops a wheelie as he starts moving forward once again. Gets a little squirrely as he comes out of it. Lands it down. Pops yet another little wheelie. Does a front flip and loses some of the body panels as he lands on his roof. Predators keep on going. Takes one of the big jumps, lands it down, and pops it off on the other side. Pops a wheelie as he comes off that ramp. As he hits the big ramp, ooh, lands it back down hard on the rear of the chassis. Oh, gets stuck as he tries to go up. Looks like he's gonna have to use one of his saves. There he goes. Right back onto his wheels. Looks like he's going for the backflip once again. And lands it down. Forward he goes. He pops it up on the front wheels for a little bit. Runs into the small ramp, runs into the barrier. Ooh, pops his wheel. That's going to hurt him a little bit. But his run's almost over, so I'm sure he's got it. Up he goes. Amazing air. And he lands it back down as time runs out. Looks like Predator's still trying to keep going. Up he goes, up and across, lands it on the front wheel and breaks the wheel. Can he save it? Yes, he does. And it looks like that will be the end of the run for Predator. Up next, we have the red Overkill Evolution. Did alright in racing, I believe. And just look at that truck. It's got a red glow. The normal truck, I believe, is like a blue, purple, and black, I believe. But this one is obviously not that. Off it goes out of the starting gate. Looks like he's going to go for the back end of the stadium. Turning around, getting himself lined up. Hits the ramp and gets some big air. Leans forward, lands down hard onto the front wheels. And will continue on driving. Off he goes. Up the big ramp. Gets some good air. And a nice bounce onto the plateau on the other side. Around. He's going for the ramp with the cars. Up he goes. Even more amazing air. Oop, and it looks like he's going to do a front flip. Oh no. Almost. Landed it onto his roof. Can he roll over? Absolutely. There he goes. Right back onto his wheels after that amazing save. Up another ramp he goes, landing it on his rear wheels. Seems the sway bars on the rear suspension kind of popped out there. Looks like he was trying to start a donut. Just getting a little bit more crazy. Manages to stick it onto his wheels. Going across the ramp. Looks like he's going for the backflip ramp as well. Up he goes into a spin and lands it back down. He then puts it in reverse, goes up the ramp, and lands it down onto the other side. Off he goes, pedal to the metal. He lands sideways. Ooh, that broke something. I think, let's see. Nothing seems broken, but that did seem like a pretty hard landing. Actually, I think that did break something. I believe the front right wheel is starting to cause some problems for Overkill Evolution as he runs into the barrier. 30 seconds left on the clock. Up the small ramp he goes, running into the barrier once again. Sticking it in reverse, and it looks like he's going to go up the ramp in reverse. Landing it down. Forward he goes once again. Flipping the big ramp near him. And time is up for Overkill Evolution as he does another jump. Lands it right down on the other side pretty good. And it looks like that will be the end of the run for Overkill Evolution. Up next we have Gravedigger. Made it into the final round, but lost to Max D. It was a very close race, I must say. Anyway, I believe this particular Gravedigger is Gravedigger 12. So it's got the older body on it. And I think it looks pretty good. I think this Gravedigger looks nice. Anyway, into the truck we go, and off goes Gravedigger. Going into the racing lane as he pops it up into the air from that ramp and landing it back down. Making a high-speed turn as he hits the ramp with the cars. Gets a little bit of a bounce as he then combos it up across on the other side and will save it after he drives on his front wheels for a little bit. Turning himself around, off he goes. Up the ramp he goes. Lands it down onto the other side and gets a bounce. Pretty hard bounce, I must say, from what it sounded like. Turning himself around, he goes full speed up the ramp. Ooh, lands it down hard. Hits the backflip ramp. I'm pretty sure that just broke his rear steering, or at least something on the rear steering. Because that, ooh, yeah, that, rear right tire is definitely broken. Trying to turn, but the tire isn't making it any better. Going across the obstacles he goes, landing it back down. Trying to turn, but that rear tire is not helping him in any way. Yeah, Gravedigger's struggling to make the turn, but it looks like he's got a plan. Up he goes, lands it down onto his broken wheel. Up some of the more ramps he goes, lands it on the other side, gets a little squirrely as he comes out of it. Off he goes, driving a little sideways. Up he goes, lands it on the side. I think he was trying to go for the backflip ramp, but it looks like that wheel is definitely not helping as the other rear wheel breaks. Rear steering is completely gone for Gravedigger. Landing it down on the other side. Only front steering for Gravedigger since both of the rear wheels are completely broken. That entire rear part of the truck's just swinging around as the wheels are trying to decide where to go. Time is up for Gravedigger as he makes yet another jump, lands it on the other side. And I'm surprised those wheels have not come off, considering how much they're swinging around. Ooh, Gravedigger getting a little bit into trouble. He manages to land it back down. Driving once again, getting a little bit of turning. Lands it on the rear wheels. Hits the ramps. I think that saved him. And then drives up, and it's probably going to try and go across, it looks like. Yep, here he goes. Right across the obstacle. Still getting a little squirrely from that rear suspension. Still trying to get himself turned around. Up he goes. Lands it back down. And it looks like that will be the end for Gravedigger. And with Gravedigger, there's only one truck left to go. And our final truck for part 2 is Max D, specifically Max D Gears from the recent Gears and Galaxies thing that Monster Jam's been doing. Anyway, this is the Gears version of Max D, as I'm sure you know by now. This is our racing champion and took a little bit of a tumble during his celebratory freestyle. But let's see what Max D can do, see if he can double down. Going up the big ramp to start off his run. Landing it back down with a nice bounce on the other side. Turning himself around, almost flips over. Can he save it? Absolutely. That was an incredible save by Max D. Up the ramp he goes. Gets a nice little bounce. Looks like he's going for the backflip. Yes, he does. Into the backflip and right down on the other side. And up the ramp that is next to the backflip ramp. Going down onto the other side. Getting himself turned around. Full speed. Gets some nice air. Lands down a little bit harder. And that doesn't seem to be stopping Max D at all. Off goes Max D, headed for the other ramp with the cars. Gets amazing air and some distance. Gets a little bounce and lands it on top of that little plateau there. Off he goes. Ooh, this is going to be a hard landing. Ooh, does a spin. That was an amazing move there by Max D. I think the front right wheel's a bit busted now. Oh, no, it looks alright. Looks like Max D's going to enter a donut here. A little bit of donuts from Max D. Up he goes. Lands it down onto the side. Looks like he's going for the backflip ramp again. Ooh, lands it down hard on the rear. Going in reverse. Up he goes. And right back down. Forward he goes yet again. Up and over, getting some pretty big air off of that ramp. Trying to avoid the barriers, turning himself around. 10 seconds left on the clock for Max D as he soars over and lands down. Rear wheels clip the ramp as he lands right on his front suspension, tumbles around a little bit, but he seems to be alright as the clock is finished. Off goes Max D for yet another jump. Ooh, looks like he's going to hit the backflip ramp. Front suspension's busted and Max D is on his roof. And I'm pretty sure the rear shock's also busted. Anyway, that seems to be the end of Max D's run, as well as the end of Freestyle. And now for the final part of our event, the Encore from the Monsters Monster Truck. The website where I got the track and all of the trucks you just saw from. I'll leave a link to the website in the description, and while you're down there, go and vote for which truck you believe won this freestyle event. And depending on how well it seems, how well these two videos have gotten, I might split the other freestyle videos I've done into two separate parts, just to see how many more people can vote on the polls, because to my knowledge, only one person has voted on a single poll. Anyway, until the next video, I will see you later. Enjoy this freestyle encore.